Oh, is it recording? Oh, you had to focus.
It did focus.
Is it recording? Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Sean.
And we're traveling the country in our van to promote volunteerism by visiting different nonprofits every month.
This week we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, working with Kids on the Block.
Welcome to Kids on the Block.
Our mission is using the power of puppetry to educate children about social concerns and differences to give them skills to stay safe and healthy. We use life-size puppets, and they explain to children difficult issues. They explain it to them what they are, like bullying or child abuse. Then they give them situations and tips about how to keep themselves safe.
Okay, so what do I do if my instincts tells me something's wrong?
We talk to kids about how it's okay to be different, and it's okay to talk about your differences with others. You know, talk to your friends, ask them questions, listen to one another. You learn more about what makes you different and what makes you the same, and that's pretty cool. You could even make a new friend.
Kids on the Block is a great organization to get information out there to teach kids, because a lot of them don't get it at home. They don't get it in school because there's criteria they have to be taught. So this is how the puppeteers do it.
Our puppeteers are all nationally certified and trained bunraku artists. So they actually wear the black hoods, the gloves, and they're dressed in black, and they become the shadow behind the puppet.
You guys say that? When I started back in '99, you know, it was a much smaller organization. We didn't serve as many children and adults. We didn't see as many counties, and didn't do as many topics.
It really is a broad-reaching program in that it reaches out to all of the schools in what is now a 15-county area here. It is one of the most successful, if not the most successful, chapter of the Kids on the Block program. I believe mainly because of the work of the staff and Kelly, the executive director.
Last year we did 389 programs in our 15-county area, and that was over 57,000 children and adults that we serve. So we're constantly training and educating ourselves to understand, you know, the language of the day, because that changes too. So we have to know their language. We have to be able to speak their language and to be able to give them the correct information and keep current with that information. And since some of our programs deal with medical issues, that's an ongoing process.
See, I'm what they call legally blind. And so I cannot see like details, but I can tell if there's shadows, like if it's light or dark. So that's kind of how I can see. Like you can put your head up and you guys could tell it was light, and when you put your head down, you could tell it was darker. So that's how I can see. I can see like large shapes, and I can see shadows, and I can see light.
Puppets take on a personality. They really do. I mean, when you just see them, you think, oh, they're just a puppet. But once the girls put the puppet on and start doing performance, the puppets take on personalities.
I feel like every time you put a puppet on your hand, you kind of take that person on. Like each puppet, you know, has a different voice and different traits that you do with them. Like you might sit differently with a girl than you would if you're a boy puppet, and just kind of your attitude on stage.
Hi, my name is Mark Riley, and I was the very first kid on the block. And I was born with something called cerebral palsy. You could just say CP for short. But it means okay, well, like your brain, it sends messages to all the parts of your body to make a move. Like your brain says arms move, and your brain says head move. But when my brain says legs move, they don't get the message.
The puppets are the instrument of our mission, you know, obviously. So it's the way that we communicate with children. It's the way that we communicate our message. It's the way that we get their attention, get them to open up to hear our message. So the person who founded the program, Barbara, was wise to pick puppetry as the instrument of her message and her mission.
The national organization has developed 45 programs, and they deal with everything, as I mentioned, bullying, good manners, washing hands, diabetes, dwarfism. I mean, there's a whole list of programs that are just tough topics, pretty much, for children to understand, but they're being faced with those issues.
Alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs.
Accepting differences.
Brushing your teeth, hand washing.
Stranger danger and emergency plans.
Brain injuries.
Organ donation.
We have programs, about with physical disabilities or learning disabilities, and just being more accepting and open of people, regardless of whether someone has a disability or not, just being more accepting and open in general of people, and that it's okay to be different, and that's what makes us interesting. And we're always like, if we were all the same, it would be boring, or it really would, just because someone doesn't like what you like doesn't make it wrong.
And we also emphasize communication, so that if they're being bullied and they can't seem to fix the situation themselves, then go talk to an adult. And if that adult doesn't listen to you or is not believing you, then talk to somebody else. And just keep talking until you find the help that you need. And so you're in a safe situation. They explain that, violence, you sometimes get everything all bottled up inside of you. And it's like shaking a Coca-Cola can, and then you open it up and it explodes. And you don't need to do that. So instead of getting it all shook up and keeping it all inside, let's talk about it. Find a friend, talk about it, and work out ways to make it okay. And that friend can be your buddy, or it can be an adult buddy, which, we emphasize too. You've got to communicate with trusted adults too, just to find your place, because it is tough and issues are getting more, they're just getting harder, and younger kids are having to face some of these challenges a whole lot younger than they should have to.
We deal with very sensitive issues like child abuse prevention, and our bullying prevention programs. Those are some sensitive issues that sometimes kids might have a problem talking to an adult about, but when you get that puppet in front of them, they feel like the puppet is like their friend and they can confide in them. So oftentimes we'll get children disclose abuse or a bullying situation for the first time with a puppet. So it addresses some very important issues.
That one's tough when we get disclosures, and obviously we want them to talk to us, but we want it to have not ever happened. So it's like you don't want disclosures because you don't want this child to have been abused, but you do because you want them to feel comfortable to talk to somebody.
We're not a resource necessarily to intervene in a child abuse case, but what the program does with this particular topic is it makes children understand that they're not alone, and that if they're suffering from physical or mental abuse, that there's help out there for them, and that they're not alone, and that they're not the only person who's suffered.
Why do people like abusing other people?
It's a difficult topic for adults to even talk about. So topics that like child abuse and bullying and healthy eating, that a lot of times we don't understand ourselves. Children don't understand it at all, and then they're faced with these situations that they don't know how to handle. So we bring in our puppets to help explain, because it's a lot easier for the children to relate to their peer as to an adult.
The kids, they know they're puppets, but at the same time they relate to them, because they see the puppets and they see the puppeteers, but they see the puppets. So they see the personalities of the puppeteers. And with the training that they have and the ability for them to interact with the children through the puppets, it really gives the children an ability to relate to it.
Most of our puppet kids are around 11 years old, so the kids kind of see them, as a friend, as a peer, and they just feel more comfortable, because I think with the illusion of us all dressed in black and with the black backdrop, it's kind of like we disappear, and you just kind of get pulled into that program, and so they think these kids, are real and they're friends, and so they feel more comfortable talking to their friends than they would an adult sometimes.
There's so many counselors or teachers will come and talk to you about how bullying is wrong, and then you can hear people say it, but it's kind of not enough sometimes. So to have a presentation where kids can kind of connect with seeing puppets, and it's kind of fun. Hearing it from puppets is kind of, I don't know, it makes it stay in your head more than just hearing it from a teacher.
I feel like it's a little easier for the kids to respond to the puppets. One, because they're smaller, so they're kind of closer to their size, and I guess it's different than talking to an adult. You know, like an adult's a big person, they're kind of scary and might be overwhelming, but when someone's joking around with you and, you know, talking to you on your kind of level and playing field, is a little bit easier. So you can really see the kids like open up to you versus like when you're just standing up there talking.
Especially with the child abuse program, they definitely wouldn't be as open about talking about what's happened to them or what they think is happening to them or maybe what happened to a friend. But when the puppets come out and they talk about like the abuse that's happened to me, then they're eager to raise their hand and be like, I think that that's happening to me. So they're more open to talking to someone that's their age and not just an adult.
Children are more open about everything. The younger that you are, you know, the more open you are to life in general. So children immediately, you know, believe that puppet is alive and talking and speaking to them. And therefore I think that they absorb that message more readily than adults do.
You put on that puppet and the puppet becomes safe, which is what we want to happen. We want them to forget there is actually someone behind the puppet.
Without the puppets, you sort of take that shroud, or if you will, you expose the wizard. You know, and once you can see that the Great Oz is just the guy behind the curtain, you lose some of that mysteriousness, but it's a good mysteriousness.
They get so excited about the puppets and just their face light up, and they'll hug a puppet, they want their autographs. It amazes me how the kids react to the puppets.
It's cool too because when we're done, they actually want to hug us. Like, they don't care that the puppets are in the bag. Like, they're like, Michelle, like they remember because we introduce ourselves in the beginning and the end, and they'll come give us a hug like, thanks for coming, and it's like, they remember us as people, not just the puppets, so it's really cool.
They laugh at all our jokes, so that's always really encouraging when you're up on stage and you say something funny and they laugh at you like, oh, I am funny. But I feel like they really do get something out of it, especially like after the program when they come up and talk to you like, that was great, you know, thank you so much, I learned so much.
The little kids love it. Sometimes the older kids think they're too cool for the puppets. You can see it in their faces when they sit down, but then by the end they're laughing and their letters are like, at first I thought I was too cool for the puppets, but wow, I really learned something, and it's just like, see, you have to give it a chance.
They loved the performances. They were talking about them for weeks. Wow. About how the different puppets they liked and just how fun it was.
It absolutely amazes me to see some of the comments from the children. And we do have a set of evaluations for children. We have evaluations from teachers, and we do a follow-up evaluation like 30 days after for programs like bullying to see if there actually has been a difference in the classroom after our program. And it has been overwhelming. 84% said yes. The teachers said that there was a definite change in attitude and behavior in the classroom following our program. 78% of the elementary students showed a positive change in their attitude, behavior, and or their knowledge of a particular topic after seeing a program.
One of my 3 daughters was having a problem in her classroom with bullying, and they truly made an impact. They truly helped with the bullying problem that was happening, and we're talking about 4th grade girls.
She talks about how you can't let a bully get in your way of school, and you need to step up and go tell a teacher. We used to have groups of who we would hang with so we wouldn't get bullied, but now everyone's interactive with each other. My school has changed into a better school. There's like a group of girls that is like the popular group, and there's like the outcast, and a few years ago, I tried to be in that popular group, but I've always kind of be like an outcast, and I've decided to kind of, if they don't accept me as who I am, I should be with people who do accept me as who I am, so I'm not really with the popular girls, and that doesn't bug me.
I like that it teaches kids a message about what is right from wrong and how to keep healthy and safe.
It's really cool when we get one where they're like, I was being a bully and I was being this and being, you know, picking on kids, and I realized after your program that that wasn't the right thing to do, and that almost is more of an impressive impact to realize as a fourth grader to be so self-aware that I need to change my behavior.
To get those kids letters and, you know, they talk about, you know, I know it's okay to be friends with people who are different from me, or I know that child abuse is never, ever, ever a kid's fault and I can tell a grown-up, or, you know, I know that it's not okay to bully someone, or I've been bullied and I know now what to do. So seeing that change in those children, you know, it's a huge difference for us.
If we can affect positively one child with every show, then we're accomplishing our mission, but I believe that we're doing much, much more than that.
When you know that over 75% of those kids, it's making a difference in their life, and even a month later, we definitely know that they're changing their attitudes and behaviors, that's pretty cool, you know. So we're doing something right. I just want us to continue to do it, you know, face those challenges, and, you know, and provide the information for the kids.
When it pulls up into the schools, I mean, kids are at the window, like, beating on the window. It's so awesome. Like, we feel like we're celebrities.
Disabled kids, there's nothing we can do. Just take a look inside yourself.
We do hand washing, how to wash your hands, make sure you wash them, and how to make good friends, because they are, okay, let's see, where was I? Let's see. So each program is age appropriate, and so we begin with preschoolers who don't have the long attention span, and so they get information. So, once again, all of our programs are age appropriate.
Just like you and me.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we turn off the camera?
My kids think that Mom has the coolest job in the world.
There you go.
Yeah.